We, the people, tell the government what it is allowed to do. We, the people, are free.
So I was on a road trip over the weekend. It was my niece's graduation. And I was, and,
okay. I'm sorry.
wrong?
I'm not schizophrenic.
Well,
so
I mean, don't make that statement unless you can back it up with actual science-based
exactly.
evidence.
We don't know exactly, despite the science. So I kept hearing our show intro, and it's just not the voices in my head.
Oh, you're on Pilled.
It's because I'm on Pilled.
Mm-hmm.
Pilled, that is my dedication to you.
It's a funny story. Not the story I was going to open the show with.
Sorry.
But, I interviewed Natalie Winters on my first show ever. She's that new White House correspondent that the media hates because she's pretty. She was on my first show that I did in my studio after I left the radio station, and I had Pilled up because we love Pilled, and the audio from Pilled. I just got this computer. I didn't know where the audio was coming from, and I kept hearing myself on a loop. And I had this big guest on, and I'm focused as hard as I can focus.
Telling you.
It was, yeah, so I've been there, I understand. But no, I was going to tell you guys, I was at my niece's graduation over the weekend, and I don't know when the last time you guys went to a graduation was. For me, it was a few years ago. But it was in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and that's kind of far away, and it's a little bit country, and there's been a lot of radiation there, I think, because that's where they worked on the Manhattan Project, which is, when they made the nuclear bomb. Anyway, when I was in the last graduation, the air horns became a thing. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, and you'd be like, seriously, air horns? At this graduation, there was noisemakers, confetti cannons, boat horns, air horns, and cowbells and balloon drops. I have never seen.
That's a lot. Are we surprised? Do you see how extra people go for their gender reveals? They're setting wildfires. They're creating the San Andreas Fault to close it. I mean, people are. We may as well all just be schizophrenic watching these celebrations. Pull a Russell Crowe in A Beautiful Mind all the time because these people be going really extra.
I mean, after the Palisades fire, Gavin Newsom was like, "It's a boy."
Yeah.
Of my policies.
No, he didn't say it's a boy puppet. He would say
it's a trans.
Yeah, it's an undetermined until they're old enough to choose their own gender. Yeah, well,
it was a transgender fire.
It was a transgender fire.
It was. I wonder how it identified. Yeah.
Well, it identified as hot.
It identified as fucking shit up.
It burned somebody's ass.
But anyhow, so I was sitting here watching this graduation, and my ears were ringing, and I'm just thinking, is this where we've devolved into a society where you make as much noise as possible for your kid, and then all the other kids that are there don't matter? Whatever happened to the applause? Am I just being too trad dad that you shouldn't have balloon drops and air horns and cowbells and boat horns?
No.
I mean, it's a
and,
little
and
nauseous,
you shouldn't
right?
have Tim Walz talking about the president of the United States being like a terrorist at a commencement address either.
Oh, yeah, that sounds pretty bad, too. Did that happen?
Yes, that did happen. Just recently.
I think the only exception, guys, is for this show here and now. I mean, look, we have Pilled already popping. We have Matt, let's go.
Sorry.
We have ABBA. He's saying, here we go. I invited some people. So I don't know. Maybe we just air horn. Maybe we all do it. We did the intro, like raise the roof. Let's hear some noise.
I had some air horn on my board somewhere.
I thought that wasn't it. That's not it. That's a voice like this. What is this?
Guys, we're giving.
Okay, that was David.
We're giving bad bar mitzvah DJ.
Okay, yeah.
Right now. Oh,
sorry,
God.
guys.
Is there
I was
such
trying
thing
to
as
get
a
my
good bar mitzvah DJ?
No, a bad one because we're trying to do all these. I'm trying to get the crowd going. Like raise the roof, guys. Matt on Pilled, ABBA on X.
Puppet,
so we can make noise here. We're allowed, but
I can see Taylor as a bar mitzvah DJ.
Yes, I could see that.
I could see her leading the electric slide.
Those bar mitzvah boys like boobs out.
Right.
And brains out.
Right. I mean, that is when you
Reading
become a man.
Torah. Reading that Torah.
You be getting some recall or rebookings. Like you just had your bar mitzvah last month. How are you having another one? No. Well,
You know what's crazy, Dave? You talk about it's where boys become men.
Yes.
And I actually had my first kiss at my bat mitzvah. So there you have it.
Wow.
I did show up DJ Dougie Jams, who was my DJ, and I did have a coordinated dance to Billie Jean. So it wasn't the electric slide.
So it sounds like I was exactly right.
Basically no notes. Basically fact checked, unlike Biden's health history.
Well,
we're going to get to that.
Yeah. Speaking of Biden's health history, we're going to talk about his, now I keep saying his butt because that's, I thought, how you access the prostate, but I think you can access it from other places. But so we're going to talk about Biden's prostate. We're going to talk about his mental health issues, what he knew and didn't know, and when he didn't know it, and all the admissions that are happening now. We're going to talk about a lot of things tonight. It's going to be exciting. And we got a big guest who actually fights for mental health, and that's Egypt Brown, a guy who is around fighters and fights himself. So I'm really excited about our show tonight. Lots to talk about. Lots of fun to be had.
Dave.
I got water tonight.
From mental health to Sports Illustrated. I mean, he has water.
Yeah. Well, what happened was I went for a very long walk because I can't work out because my shoulder's broken. That's what I was going to tell you. I told you before, guys, just so you know, before the show, we talk about what we're going to talk about in the short open, which is going too long. But we talk about what we're going to talk about in the short open. And I said I was going to talk about my butt. And everyone's like, okay, talk about your butt. And because I walked like 4 miles today and my ass hurts from walking. This is what happens when you get old. Your ass hurts from walking. So I'm drinking water.
Is it walking or just too much time with Puppet?
Well, I don't know if it's actually walking.
Walking, right,
yeah,
Puppet?
Walking.
Whatever
and
that
he's
means.
drinking water for his butt.
He's on that Maha lifestyle.
I don't think that's going to do anything.
Matt 1776 says you have a gerbil voice with that noisemaker puppet.
I did. It was a gerbil voice.
Yeah, maybe that's why my butt
That's
hurts
why your
today.
butt hurts, because you have a gerbil up in there.
Yes, and.
Yeah. And you got a Palisades fire in your rectum.
All right. With that, I'm going to start the open. So, guys, don't go anywhere. Politically Uncensored starts now.
Free your mouth and your mind will follow. Speak your truth, don't wait for tomorrow. Words like rivers can carve through stone.
This place is insane.
Yeah, they did. She did it under a...
Silence
too much noise and it becomes
too
negative.
heavy to bear alone.
Deemed the Celebrity Whisperer by Playboy.
That's what happened.
Write your fears on the back of the wind. Tear down the walls you were raised within. Chains of whispers, rust and break. The cost of freedom is the noise you make.
Free speech in America.
It's back, guys. Free speech
Back
in
like
America.
us on a Tuesday. Yeah, boy. That's another thing from like puppet raising the roof. Guys, can I tell you a challenge I threw out to our Pilled fam?
What's that?
What'd you say?
Yeah, I see. I'm up for it. I'm trying to catch up. What happened?
I said, Trad Dad, you got to be with the times, I said, best comment in Pilled will be read by my best call girl voice.
And
So
he
you're
says,
up.
seriously, I'm up for that challenge. I think he meant to write. What is a call girl voice?
Like a sex line.
Like,
It's like, I don't know.
hi, hey, Dave.
Hey,
Oh, God. It's
How
like
are you
serial
doing,
killer.
Dave?
you've stolen your parents' credit card and you've called the sex line. Congratulations. Press 1 if you want to hear me talk. I mean, what do you even do?
Dave,
like
your juicy
shooting-
buttocks hurt.
All
I
I'm
don't want to put
picturing,
my hands on them.
all I'm picturing is Puppet in the Scream mask and running around the house with those little puppet legs after Drew Barrymore on the phone in Scream.
I know what you did last night, Dave.
My butt
wonder-
still hurts from it, puppet.
Yeah, because you were jamming the manhole, and now your
That wasn't
now your
happening.
glutes are all sore from too
Can I
much
ask you
pushing
about
in
this?
my
Now
cushion.
he's hydrating. And also, this is typical men going on in the chat. Abba right away says, let's hear it. Classic men. They want it all up front right away without putting
Now,
in the work.
no,
I
no,
said
no,
best
no.
comment will get at the end of the show. I will read it in my best.
Abba is smart
voice.
because he knows that women lie. And he doesn't think you're going to do it regardless of the comment. That's what happened. And, oh, wait a minute. Matt says he heard a rumor you're going to start streaming too. What does that mean?
Yeah, Matt, elaborate.
Yeah. Streaming what? Like only Taylor's kind of a deal? Like,
Streaking,
hey boys.
streaming.
Yeah.
Hey boys,
Stripping?
you've reached, I don't even know what, 1-800 Taylor Ferber.
I've officially lost my boner. I'm so scared by these serial killer
Press 1.
max murderer
I
voices.
guess guys can't really do sexy voices.
Yeah.
I don't think that works.
Does Magic Mike have a sex to have? Yeah. Hey, baby.
Press 1 if you want to hear me tell you you've been a good boy. Press 2 if you want a compliment. Press 3 if you want me to say something dirty.
Hi, how you doing? This is my sexy voice.
Honestly, if I could call a sex line these days, all I would want is like a woman to say, "Hey, Dave, I'm proud of you. You've done a good job today."
Like that video you
really
shared
hard.
on it.
that video.
That video is iconic. It's like prostitution, but for validation.
Yes, that's what I would call. I'm going to call 1-800, say something nice to me. 1-800, make me a sandwich. That would be the other sex line. 1-800, Taylor Forever. Ring. Hello, this is Taylor. What kind of sandwich would you like today? Would you like tuna? Would you like ham and cheese? Matt 7076 says, my sex line voice is scaring him.
No, I truly am petrified. I am petrified. Also, we have a great comment from Alan. When I asked Matt and Pill to elaborate, Alan came in with the hot stop. Elaborate and listen.
That's right.
Okay, first topic, anyone?
You know what's
sure.
scary though? Dave has called me with that exact same voice.
Yeah. Hey, Puppet.
On the phone. And I was like,
what are you wearing
what
right now, Puppet? What are you doing?
WTF, Dave? Why are you talking to me like that?
Yeah. Hey,
No
Puppet.
wonder Puppet's immobile.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was trying to get with me over the phone.
How's the manhole looking tonight, Puppet? You want me to get you out of the trunk early?
What are you
Puppet?
wearing?
Yeah. Press 1 if you want me to get you out of the trunk.
Speaking of manhole, Dave,
All right, Dave, what we got up on the docket
right,
tonight?
we got up tonight in Q.
So we got.
I don't even think you mentioned it.
You know what,
Okay,
Matt?
Dave.
1776. Unless I start seeing a ship or something over there, I'm gonna do the whole show in my sexy voice, my sex line voice. I'm gonna extort him. Can we do extortion over on Pilled? Tips to get me to stop speaking in my sex line
It
voice.
makes nipples not hard, but inverted.
It's a totally different. It's a totally different competition. You either the best comment gets Taylor's sex line voice, or the best tip gets me to stop using my sex line voice. What do you think?
Meritocracy, people.
That is
no
a
participation
good deal.
trophies. Yeah. So
Because your voice is
competition.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about the first topic. Biden over the weekend, all of a sudden, by the way, guys, he
Out of
is,
the blue.
He is very healthy for an 82-year-old man. Very healthy. So healthy, in fact, that he absolutely could have served another 4 years of president. So healthy, in fact, that there was nothing wrong with him while he was president. No mental health decline whatsoever. Everything was totally fine when Biden was president.
Sharp as a tack.
And somehow
It
it's just a stroke of bad luck. And our hearts are with him. What are the prayers and hopes or something? What
Thoughts
are they?
and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers.
Love the thoughts and prayers.
Apparently, he's developed prostate cancer in a very, very rapid case of prostate cancer that they didn't find because apparently they didn't do any like examinations. Look, here's a discussion of it on CNN. I'm not going to let this whole clip run, guys. So just expect it to end early.
Talk about boner.
Biden's a Biden spokesperson tells me that former President Joe Biden, his last known PSA, which is a screening that could be used for prostate cancer, was conducted in 2014, and that he was never diagnosed with cancer before the Friday diagnosis that was handed from his doctors. Now, to give you a bit of a background, the PSA test checks the blood for levels of a protein.
And the rest of it I don't care about. So the point of this story, what the hell were you doing on that break, Puppet?
Why?
Checking his own manhole.
Oh, were you just giving yourself a prostate exam? Was that what you were doing?
Definitely was.
I was.
Puppets, about 1776.
You want to smell
wants
my
know
hand and see?
who the power bottom
Verify?
is? What
Trust
do you
but
think?
verify, Dave.
Okay, so you gave yourself a prostate exam. How is your prostate, Puppet?
Yeah, well, my prostate is fat and juicy.
Good to know. Good to know.
I don't know if that's
one
what
is.
you look for in the exam.
I don't, Dave.
Yeah, is that
I've never
bad?
given one, nor have I gotten one, Dave.
Your prostate exams must be easy. All
out.
you have to do is just like, and you can just.
It's
see
just
it
like,
now.
in chicks when it's like your mom's breast milk, she's so old, and powder comes out. That's Puppet's prostate exam. It's just powder.
So, oh God. So Biden doesn't have this Biden just got cancer. I love how he said the Biden spokesperson said he didn't have cancer before he was diagnosed with cancer. That's very specific, right? Like, just to dispel all myths, he did not have cancer until he had cancer, in case you guys thought he had cancer before they announced it. Just so you know.
This whole entire thing it literally is the mental jujitsu that will not stop from hell. Yeah. And to me, and we're going to bring producer Rob on into the chat. Let's see how much we make fun of him tonight, if he is safe or not. But now this is getting into the whole discussion of his, cognitive decline and all this. And a moment that was certainly a highlight on the internet was Megyn Kelly reaming out Jake Tapper over him, doing the same to Laura Trump when she point blank was like, he's not mentally well, right?
Right.
And Jake Tapper says, look, I apologize, da-da-da-da. Listen, here's my take on all this before producer Rob comes in. We are now splitting hairs of who knew what, when, and this cancer diagnosis, let's be honest, they've known about this basically since horse and buggies roam the earth as a means of transportation. Okay. So Lord knows how long that they've known, but we're splitting hairs of
butt hairs.
Over butt hairs, literally over who knew what, when. Now
cheeks, Taylor. We're splitting cheeks.
And my brain in the process, because they think that we're that stupid with these tell-all books, this, that, the other thing. Even Jake Tapper, he's doing brain surgery, guys, the bottom line is we all have two eyes. Anybody with a pulse could see that this man was a potato as soon as he became president. Why we're even getting into the weeds of who knew what, when, and the date and this and that, literally it is beyond insulting to our intelligence. And the American public should be, quite frankly, outraged.
We should be. The gaslighting has not stopped. It started on day one of his presidency and has not stopped. And it's continuing today now they released this evidence, this cancer thing right after Jake Tapper bring a tell-all book and 4 other people wrote a book. And that he's mentally challenged. Now he's physically challenged. You're telling me the doctor didn't do an executive physical on this guy every year of his presidency? Bull crap. We know that's what they do. That's how it works. They definitely would have checked the PSA test.
14 years. They just didn't do it, right?
It's just ridiculous.
I know. Look, regardless, I don't, my personal belief, and we talked about this in the space last night. They were saying that the COVID vaccine could lead to aggressive sort of cancer growth. And
I've heard lots of that.
Yeah,
and
he had 17,000 boosters. I think he got a boost. He didn't have a PSA test, but he got a booster once a week. And so I think he was probably sick for a while. They just didn't want to tell anybody. He did allude to him having cancer several years ago. And I think he was about to die because they said it's aggressive. It spread to his bones. And they're like, shit, how do we explain his sudden death unless we come up with some reason, because it's all getting exposed? Taylor, you're shaking your head no. What's your thought on it?
Just at this entire thing, it's just, I take common sense very seriously, guys.
Yeah.
And it is just, like I said, an insult to our common sense, all of it. Again, when I saw the news alert, I was like, wow, I literally could not be I'm not shocked at all. At the initial diagnosis and how advanced it was. And these are the most advanced doctors that he was seeing on a regular basis. And now all of a sudden out of thin air.
Yeah.
And then again, like I said, the mental decline and making everyone feel like they were absolutely crazy. Now the tell-all books, it's all absolutely disgusting. And it's, like I said, common sense must reign supreme. And I want people to answer for this. Notice how there's no accountability. That's the other thing, guys, that just pisses my tinfoil titties and blondness right off, is that none of these people ever have to take accountability, even on the celebrity side. People who were pushing vaccines and lockdowns during COVID, and all the people who were basically in Biden's prostate, like George Clooney, Jessica Alba, all these people. Now what? Oh, they can just be quiet and no one has to answer for shit. No one has to be accountable. And I am darn tootin' sick of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I'm darn tootin' sick of it myself.
Darn tootin'. Producer Rob is in the background jumping at the bit to jump in on this. Let me bring him in real quick. Producer Rob.
Wow.
Probably at a bar.
Great.
What's up? I am as usual.
Yeah, as usual. Producer Rob from the bar with his cigarette. Well, you're jumping at the bit in the background on our behind the scenes chat. What you got?
I am. what I got is, yeah, everything you guys are saying makes sense. So what I got is about this book. So just in case you don't know, people, it's called Original Sin. Just became a bestseller. Jake Tapper, CNN's chief anchor out of DC, and Alex Thompson, who is a big reporter at Axios, put it together. And, you know, Jake Tapper is saying, and the whole media is saying that they didn't know, that they asked a few questions, the White House kept it a secret, shamed them for asking. Okay, but they wrote a book. So how long did they know when they didn't know? Like, it's fair to say they just somehow willfully closed their eyes and didn't see what every one of us saw. But they started writing a book. And if you read this book, you guys, it's worth looking at. This level of detail is crazy. I mean, George Clooney, remember at that fundraiser? Biden didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
Like, you've got congressmen talking to members of the cabinet saying he is not, quote, fucking able to be president. What are we going to do? So you knew enough to ask questions and write a book months ago. So now you also pretend you didn't know 2 years ago. And they said, by the way, in the 2020 campaign, he was, they were worried about him then. That's why they never took him out of the fucking basement. But that said, here's my main point. Let's just give them the benefit of the doubt. Well, they asked a few questions, got turned away. Seems to me there was this guy named Donald Trump who was president number 45. And didn't they decide that he'd committed Russian collusion with no evidence? And even after a special commission found him no evidence, they still insisted he did. And they won Pulitzer Prizes. So I don't know, kind of thinking these guys need to pull their heads out of Puppet's manhole and stop lying. If one of these people would come out and not say, I should have known, and say, you know what? I probably did know. And if I didn't know, I'm so guilty I shouldn't be a journalist. That's what I got to say.
Yeah. It's a good point, Rob.
Facts.
That's all I got from the
Right.
Exactly. And the fact that they're like, we couldn't confirm, are you Helen Keller or not? Do you have eyeballs and ears that work to see this guy for 5 seconds? Like, what are we even talking about? Oh, yeah. This gets Taylor feeling a type of way.
Wow. She's really worked up on it. All right, Rob, enjoy the bar.
Because
see you guys. Bye.
Bye, Rob. Thank you.
The video of Biden at that fundraiser where Obama leads him off stage by his hand. I mean, the conservative media after that was shown, was like, this is ridiculous. Biden's obviously impaired. He's got to be walked off the stage by Obama. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And the defense that these people did to that video, even like the cheap fake, that was when the cheap fakes started coming out. Cheap fakes, that term they created. Not deep fakes, cheap fakes, to make it seem like it was a deep fake, but it wasn't a deep fake because obviously it was the actual recording. And then they were actually showing clips of the same thing, but then not showing the part where he gets walked off stage and saying, see, they're just making stuff up. Well, you didn't play the next 5 seconds of it where Obama grabs his hand and walks him off stage like a invalid. It's like, and now you see this Jake Tapper book and he's talking about this exact event saying, look at all this crap that happened. And he was obviously impaired. So what then? That everybody was lying.
Jakey made a big mistake, and he's looking frail. I bet the guilt is just eating him. He's not looking too hot on Megyn Kelly. I'll say that. And again, you guys know I'm fired up about this specifically because this is my background in journalism and media. It's like, what an embarrassment to what you guys are supposed to be doing. Like, what an absolute joke. And at the end of the day, I said this on Spaces last night, guys, is this all because they couldn't bear the thought of Trump or somebody who wasn't a Democrat being in power? Like, what a disservice to the American people, to these people's reputations, to themselves. And now, though, I'd like to think, while Taylor Swift is another one who has to pay for this and propping Biden up, she's right about one thing, and that's karma doesn't sleep. So I think karma's going to get their ass.
Well, the reality of it is they surely didn't want Trump in there. And they would basically do just about anything to avoid that, including pretending like an incompetent individual was competent enough to be the president. But then also on video, there's a video out there that shows Obama saying, like, look, I would do this presidency thing again in a heartbeat if somebody was, there was a figurehead out front and I was just behind the scenes talking in their ear, which is crazy that he even said that. But he actually is on video saying that. And then they said, that's not a bad idea. Like, what if we got Joe who's incapacitated to be the president, and we just have Obama whispering everything in his ear. Like, it's like, okay.
But
Do you guys?
They just tell you what they're going to do in advance. I mean, that's just how stupid they are.
correct. Well, that's how stupid we are because they get
And then
away with
they-
it
yeah.
every single time.
Yeah, then they just
Not
know that
anymore.
they can gaslight us to death.
I hope that this is the nail in the coffin, though, and that's the karma I'm talking about. It's like they couldn't let power out of their greasy little paws, and now it's all falling in on them. So good riddance, bitches. Okay, you have to pay the price now. And too bad. Do you want to know? You were talking about Obama. A little creepy fun fact about Obama to maybe lighten the mood. I don't know.
Sure.
So it came out in the Diddy trial today that okay, could this be more obscure? That Diddy took Obama-shaped ecstasy pills.
What?
Guys, I don't make
What
the
would
news
an Obama-shaped
anymore.
ecstasy pill look like?
Choose your own adventure. Up to interpretation.
So is it shaped like Obama's private parts?
Puppet would go there. We should make puppet pills. I bet those would fly off the shelf.
They were
like little
also
puppet
trying
heads.
something that came out at the Diddy trial. Also, that
Yeah, tell me about the Diddy trial because I've been totally disconnected
I'll tell you
from
a
the
little-
Diddy trial. What's going on with the Diddy trial?
Well, I'm going to tell you this. This is a political piece of the Diddy trial.
Okay.
So apparently there was a guy, I guess it was Diddy's personal assistant, was on the stand, and he said that Diddy's favorite hotel was Trump's
That's right.
properties.
I saw
and
that.
is and his
Well, they're
favorite
nice
hotel
hotels.
was the Trump International. And it was like, and they were almost like, the article I was reading was almost like trying to make it seem like, see, because Diddy liked Trump's hotels, that makes Trump a pedophile. Like, it was like this crazy.
Did they try to make they try to like connect the two?
Trump to Diddy because he liked his hotels.
Who's they? Who was doing that?
Whoever was writing this article that I was reading
So
was probably
basically anyone.
like the AP or something,
Anything
one of
else
these-
interesting
It was Jake
come out of the
Tapper.
Diddy trial? Taylor, were you watching it?
I'm watching a little bit, both, kind of. I'm a little bit up to speed, but also from afar because it's one of those things where we're gonna get a blow by blow every 5 seconds.
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
Oh
Yeah.
no!
Well, one of the things that came out was that that Diddy's girl there was saying that after these freak offs, that she would have sores in her mouth from friction burns from giving so many BJs to the people there for so long, and she'd end up with UTIs that she
Yes.
couldn't even take medicine to get rid of.
So it was Cassie.
That was some stank ass pussy there, boys.
That boys.
She was like worn out more than like a I don't know, a driving glove.
Plot twist: Puppet was the freak off madam.
Oh yeah, I'd be
basically.
like, you want some of that? You want some of that?
Oh my god, Dave.
The Gambara,
My eyes. And okay.
Gambara on Pill just gifted us the shades for that little display, I imagine, Puppet.
Thank you.
Matt 1776 said he heard a rumor that Diddy's unit is the size of a Tootsie Roll.
That did come out actually in the trial.
Did that really come out in the trial?
That's what someone testified, I believe. Yes.
No
That he
way.
had a small dick, which is why he liked other people to bang his girl.
What type of Tootsie Roll? Because there's the long Tootsie Rolls and then there's those little mini ones.
Well, I would
The
think
Tootsie
typically when
Pop?
you're saying Tootsie Roll, it would mean the small one, right?
Well, no, they have those big ass ones too.
I don't even want to associate the glory of Tootsie Rolls with Diddy because actually, like this, it's no bueno, guys. It's not looking good.
Well, I hate Tootsie Rolls.
Me too.
If he gets off, unlike
he got
these
off
people,
a lot.
it's gonna
Maybe
be. I mean, it's bad. Like it's bad. It's really, really bad. And what's actually most disturbing is it's resurfaced now. It's been out for a couple of years. But Cassie, who you're referencing, Puppet, who is his longtime girlfriend, and now she's married and pregnant and all this. But there's a video of him literally like physically just beating the shit out.
Oh,
of
is
her
that the girl he beat in the hotel in
Yeah.
the lobby?
Yeah. So she's the main. That's what everyone's
No.
saying, and she's pregnant, so that could.
That's the one with the
help.
blowjob sores.
Yes. And she says she was basically trafficked. It's just,
Wow.
it's bad.
He would
It's-
have these guys bang her, blow
And
a
watch,
load on her back or
apparently.
something, and then make her wipe it on his nipples.
What? Do we know?
Yeah, that's what it,
specificity?
yeah,
The nipples?
he would make her rub their jizz on his nipples.
Matt says, just to change
That's
the subject, to change the subject as quickly as possible. Matt 1776 says, Dave, it was the girth of a large Tootsie. A large Tootsie.
Did you also see
Is it really?
That's what Matt 1776 says.
He's
the P Diddy dick expert over there. I'm
is alliteration if I ever saw
P Diddy dick expert.
Dicky.
Did you guys, Dicky? Did you guys see? I hope his Dicky, if this is all true, gets punished for a long time. Choppy Dicky right offy.
Then it would be one of the small Tootsie Rolls.
Exactly. So Matt 76 earlier, because Dave, you were just like, okay, we need to get to the next topic. I don't know if you guys caught this. He gifted a cookie and said, I would love to hear the call girl voice, but this cookie is to stop the other voice, which was your scary one.
Well, I stopped. It worked.
I like how he works.
I took the cookie and I stopped talking in this voice.
Capitalism.
Yeah, capitalism works.
Fair trade.
Can we talk about Tootsie Rolls for a second before I move on to the next subject
Dave.
here? Who created that garbage candy?
It's gross.
Like, who
What
likes
is it?
Chat.
What is it?
I want to know in the chat, whether on Pilled or on the other chats, if you guys like Tootsie Roll. Oh, wait. Matt 1776 says, no, I mean the girth of a Tootsie Roll is a few centimeters. That's not going to cut it. Then he would. But who likes Tootsie Rolls? Like, I've tried. They get stuck to your teeth. They're all chewy and like they just like blech. They're the worst things. Who freaking likes Tootsie Rolls? And let me tell you, when I was a kid and I was trick or treating and somebody would give me the damn Tootsie Roll, black. But then they came out with the candy flavored Tootsie Rolls.
I like those.
Yeah, those are good. Like a taffy.
Yeah, I like those.
Oh,
Yeah.
now you're going Laffy Taffy.
I like Laffy Taffy too.
I want to see puppets like trap Ratchet Laffy Taffy dance. Maybe it's a remix of that maneuver, the little maneuver he just. Oh, there it is. Oh, God.
Well, all right. Well, so
I don't got a lot of moves, you know.
Whitest puppet ever. No, I like it. I was gonna say whoever
Totally
can tell
white.
us, whatever lucky fella in the chat can tell us what a Tootsie Roll is actually comprised of. I'll give you my number. Oh.
dude, it has to be wax and ass mixed up in a little
Biden's
wrapper.
prostate remnants.
Tootsie Rolls are the worst thing in the whole planet. Anyway,
Dave has
It was
ass
the
on
first.
brain.
Okay, so I got it pulled up here on the liberal news site Wikipedia,
yeah,
and it says that
that's a
the
valid
candy
news site. Very
Yeah.
credible.
has, similar to both caramels and taffy, without being exactly either. It was the first penny candy to be individually wrapped.
Penny candy
Yeah, like where you could buy a piece of candy for a penny, like back in the day.
before inflation.
Yeah, it was created in 1907.
Cool.
And over
Yeah,
65 million Tootsie Rolls are made every day, Dave. So that ought to tell you.
And they all get thrown
Somebody's
in the garbage.
eating some of those.
Every
I
one
was-
of them gets thrown in the trash, except the one Diddy keeps in his pants.
I was gonna make a mean joke when you said 1907. I was gonna be like, so when Biden was born.
Yes, basically, Biden was the first. He was the model for the Tootsie Roll Diddy part, apparently.
They
Well, all
call
right.
it the Tootsie Roll log. Yeah. It looks like a log.
Looks like it tastes
like
like
took
a
a
log.
dump.
It's disgusting.
Tootsie dump.
All right, so I think we've basically hammered out.
I'm trying to find out what it is, Dave.
What.
I'm trying to find what it's made out.
Matt 1776 says, Dave, if you don't like Tootsie Rolls, I'm just glad you weren't invited to the Diddy parties because that one was. I'm not even reading the rest of that comment. They'd probably taste better if they were. Matt 1776. Nothing. The Tootsie Rolls by themselves are just nasty. All right, so here to further unpack. Whether
we're talking about Biden's butt and Tootsie Rolls,
Unpacking.
Diddy, and you're talking about unpacking.
yeah,
Unpacking. And Matt, I see the rest of your comment.
Yes,
I
yes,
see
yes.
it.
Well, look, I want to bring in our special guest today because we could talk about Biden's mental health decline. But as sad as Biden's mental health decline is, I think there's also a lot of people that don't deserve to have a mental health decline, and for that, our next guest fights very hard to help people like that. So it is my honor to welcome Mr. Egypt Brown to
Egypt
Politically
in the
Uncensored.
house.
How
What's
you
going on,
guys
my friend?
doing?
Egypt.
Well, it's an honor to be with you. Can you guys hear me okay?
We hear you beautifully.
Yeah, you sound good.
You. We're
Okay,
in. We're in action here. Okay, Egypt. I don't know how much of this you've seen thus far, but which of the three of us needs a psyche eval the first? Would you say?
Well, I would actually say it would be good for all four of us. You know, I'll include myself. It's always good, you know, just like, you know, your car or your body, you always need a tune up. And a lot of times we don't take advantage of, you know, our mental capacities and strengthen that part of our bodies and our faculties. So it's very important for all of us.
You're saying we need a checkup from the neck up?
Indeed.
Yes, I think if more of us do that on a regular basis, we live in a better world.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Well, I think we second that. Now, if Biden was getting regular checkups from the neck up, they probably would have seen the fact that he was missing a few screws. You know, you do a lot of. Actually, let's back up. I want to start at the beginning because I met you.
We need to hear a bit about
I met
background.
you in the lobby of a hotel on our way to. Actually, it was on the way back from a fantastic event, America's Future, where they raise money to stop human trafficking across the border. Fantastic organization. You guys go look up America's Future. Mike Tyson was there. You were there, looking fantastic with an outfit I couldn't pull off. And that's what drew me to you. I see you with this cool hat and these I'm like, that guy looks awesome. I want to go and talk to him. And then you're having the most interesting conversation with a bunch of people. And then we got to talk and I learned about the work you do in mental health. But I wonder if you can start and tell us, like, how did you come into this world fighting for mental health, and how did it relate to the fighting world where you are as well? Tell us where you came from.
Yes, great question. So I'm actually from Northern California. I know California doesn't get a lot of praise from our base, and it's not the greatest place politically, but you know, the Bay Area is very competitive. I learned a lot, and you know, I was always an athlete, and I cared about academics. You know, I always wanted to be at the top of not just my class, not just my school, but in the nation. And what you learn from California is extremely competitive, and so you know, always being from that environment, you know, it took me into sports, and really I was able to go into a lot of different, you know, amazing places, meet a lot of amazing cultures and people. But bottom line is what really took me to another level is I actually, I don't call myself a victim, but I endured a shooting myself where I was actually shot in both femoral arteries, different parts of my body. Yes. So the fact that I walk with no limp is already, they say it's a miracle to live, but, you know, I had ACL, MCL, PCL all destroyed in my leg. I was actually, I was never given a plan by any medical professional to ever walk again. It was never even a discussion. And what I decided is, you know, this is no way for me to live. They give you these pills. They're very powerful, even though you need them for pain. But those pills are a beast. And so it got to the point where I said, you know what, I'm not going to live like this. I'm not going to be a cripple. There's got to be a solution. So I didn't go to sleep until I found a medical treatment plan for an athlete from the University of Florida who had suffered a similar injury from a shooting. And one thing just to keep in mind, there was a athlete that got shot in one femoral artery, amazing player, Sean Taylor from the Redskins, or the Commanders, we say now. He was shot in one femoral artery with a 22 and died. I was hitting both femoral arteries with 45s, and obviously I'm here. And so, you know, at that point I had decisions to make, and, you know, being a vibrant athlete and a person who's always been independent, done things for myself, I didn't see it as a way to live, as being crippled. So I got in a swimming pool. I found that treatment plan. I implemented that. And before you knew it, I was limping. Then I was walking with a limp, and then I was able to run. And from there, I moved to Las Vegas, where all the best athletes, all the best fighters were. And I said, I'm going to now take on the challenge of competing against these athletes, training with them and against them every single day at the highest levels. These are the best athletes in the world. And I never told them that I had suffered gun violence. I didn't think it was something I needed to share to everybody. First of all, you don't want to give them any competitive advantage. So I knew that I had to become more technical. That's where I learned, the science on a whole different level. Some of the best trainers in the world, best athletes. I kicked their ass, and I motivated myself every day to go to another level. And I'll stop because I'll give you the short version. At a certain point, I was getting the push to be one of the better fighters in the industry. And as I'm training, all the guys around me, they knew I had a business background. I did some incredible things, in my earlier career, by representing different guys in the NBA and different things. And so they start talking to me about, hey, I need help with the business, need help with the business, need help with the business, need help. And the guys who were running the show, they could see that I was picking up on the business, very, very fast. So bottom line is I had an opportunity to either be the poster, be on all the billboards and things of this nature, or I could run the show. So I took the better option, and working with the best athletes in the world now, period, whether they're NFL, NBA, MMA, boxing, etc., and organizing some of the biggest fights on the planet comes with a lot of responsibility. And the honor and privilege also includes trust. So you get to know each other's families. You talk to them on a regular basis. And so I started to answer your question, David. I started to notice these patterns of self-sabotage. I'm noticing these patterns of them slurring their speech and just many different areas of concern. I did study psychology in the university, but not to this level. I didn't know it was mental health that was the real issue until I started doing my homework and research, because I was noticing these same behavior patterns with so many different guys, and they're not noticing like each other's issues. Sometimes they'll say that guy's a little punchy, or you can kind of tell some guys are worse off than others. But the bottom line is they're not all talking to each other because they're competitors, and I am. So I hit up every medical provider, every profession. I did my homework. I traveled the world, traveled the country. I went to these providers. I sat in their seat and I said, treat me as if I'm a patient. I want to learn. And all that I found is that we have a huge gap between, like, the healthcare system is trash. That's why I love that they're looking. It's going to take a while before they revamp such a beast of corruption. But healthcare, like, if you do want to get help, sometimes your insurance doesn't fit, or maybe the provider doesn't fit for them based on the insurance they have, or maybe they just can't afford it, or they just don't know what their options truly are, or maybe they just give up because maybe they tried it once with the wrong provider and it didn't work out for them. Whatever was the case. But what I found is some athletes, some champions, Hall of Famers and legends that were transitioning. Some of these guys, they at one point they were millionaires. Now some of them have all their things in a storage container. And I literally challenged them. I said, listen, we're going to fight for mental health, but I want you to go get your things out of storage. Like, this is from the creator. Like, it wasn't, I'm just so smart and intelligent. I'm a spiritual man. I don't claim to be religious, but I was told in a vision that I needed to make these changes and I needed to fight for mental health. I even got the name from a vision. But the bottom line is, he was telling me also that these guys are going to be restored. Their situations didn't even look even close to them being restored. Well, I'll just share one miracle and I won't keep going, but one pivotal point. I got on a flight and I flew to one of my athletes because I told him he lost his family. He lost his respect. He lost his revenue. He was losing he was down to his last property, and he had the real estate agents coming, vulturing over that property for a short sale. And I said, get your stuff out of storage today. He said, you're crazy. Like, you're nuts. Like, come on. I said, okay, I'm flying down there. So I flew to his house, and I'm not going to lie, I kind of bullied the real estate agents. And I said, just give me some time. The bottom line is, that same weekend that we're down there, We get a call out of nowhere from a multi-billionaire to do a deal. A week later, we have a contract that we're negotiating. He to this day, he doesn't live the same. He got everything back. He got his family back. He got his wealth and his pride back. He got his health back. He got everything back. And when everyone that had seen his situation saw what happened, now you're getting calls from everybody saying, I want to change too. And that's the thing about when you're really about this, when it's not like something to try to grift or, make money off other people's pain or at their expense. But when you bring results, there's no questioning what people see. And so the bottom line is we have a lot of work to do. I don't have anything to celebrate just yet. But I really appreciate a platform like today. And obviously we have other topics to cover, but I just want to thank you for helping me help this world. And that's why, we have, our allies in the legislation, because you can't just do this by complaining about the issues or creating awareness. We went after the networks. We went after every major vice that is affecting our world. I mean, when you watch sports, look at what they're hammering down: cigarettes, alcohol. Like, of course, gamble. And I'm not a hypocrite, because I understand our sport needs different sponsors and partners. I get it. But what they never tell these people, except for the small disclaimer at the bottom, is just how corrupt your life is going to be when you give into these vices, when you lose your family, when you lose everything that means something to you. They don't tell you that part. And so what I understood from day one, and what it would always be, is a fight. I'm just lucky to have allies like yourselves.
Wow. How fascinating. And congratulations on everything you've done, even your personal recovery. We have many people in the chat here giving you kudos, as you should be getting. I feel like you're a little bit of an anomaly. And here's why. I don't want to white woman splain this, Egypt,
Say what you need to say. Yeah.
for a man to be such a face and advocate for mental health is rare. Never mind a black man. I feel like there's an added layer of having like a tough facade. Like, no, we can't be weak. We can't be vulnerable, right? All of that.
Yes.
So do you feel that? Do you come across that?
Oh, what a great question, Taylor. I mean, as men in general, or as a male, we're taught to be providers, tough. Like when I played sports, like sometimes you're not just smacking or hitting people. Sometimes you're getting hit. And what our coaches loved, they'd see you wanting to limp or wanting to tap out, and they'd say, walk it off. And so that's a mentality that we're taught. And in some cases, we do need to be tough. Sometimes we're in a overly sensitive environment or world where it just gets too far on the extreme. But in general, yes, I mean, like, we want to balance the logic and the right emotions. And we also want to understand other people. Like, I want to listen to what you have going on, Taylor, and understand what you're dealing with. I want to understand what David has going on as a parent, or as a husband, or as a male. I want to understand what Puppet Carlson has going on over here. Hey, he's got a world out here too. But just the one thing as males is we're taught, or we're told, and we're guilty of this. We may listen, but we don't hear, or we hear, or we don't actually listen. So, actually taking the time to not think about yourself and listen to what someone else has going on. But the main part is, what is the call to action? Like, I'm thinking already about a solution. Like, that's who I am. I'm thinking about, okay, let's go to the next level. Let's take this, to a whole nother space. Let's find the victory here.
And Egypt, where you really strike a balance is you hit it perfect. You said it's all about kind of that happy medium, and we are in a culture of extremes, right? On one end of it, you have, many like conservative leaning will be like, we need to build back like the alpha male and masculinity, right? Whereas you could argue it's gone too far the other end of like men have gone too soft, and the truth is, men have sort of lost their way. Like masculinity is lost in the sauce. When I was a red carpet reporter in Hollywood, and it because obviously it's woketopia out there, and I would bring up this topic, we couldn't admit that men were lost in this, because it's almost like they were advocating for men to be like not strong. It's just this really weird dichotomy of extremes right now, and it would be very controversial. Like, no, you can't talk about that. It's very bizarre.
Exactly. Just to add to that very briefly, I've been seeing a trend across the board where women are becoming like more tough than the average male, meaning like they're very logical, like they don't, and obviously there's exceptions to this, so I can't speak to every man and every woman. That makes no sense. But I see a lot of women like taking on bigger roles, like running the companies, running businesses, making tough decisions. You see more and more women in executive positions. You see more women in office now making, hardline decisions, and also being like not just leaders like in their home, but being leaders in the public, and taking on the weight and the pressure. And I do believe that is excellent and it's great for progress. But at the end of the day, we still need our men to stand up and fight for, our women, our children. When we talk about anti-human trafficking and all the many, like, there's so many evil individuals and organizations and groups and associations that many people don't necessarily pay attention to, that could be right in front of their face. And, I see less heroes now, like, from our males, not saying that there aren't, because I could find several incredible examples, but, we need to support our women.
I was saying this guy, you said incredible examples. It's like,
oh,
Dave was like,
I wasn't raising wasn't raising my hand to interrupt. I'm like, Dad, this guy right here.
Yes, I just want us to, as men, to back our women up, because, at the end of the day, our women are really under the biggest attack when you have a agenda to push, men to identify as women, and then the bathrooms, the locker rooms, there's just the common sense of what a gender is or isn't is getting lost. And then you have things that are going on in our schools that are unacceptable. Books, curriculum, conversations, and just inappropriate activity. And if we don't have our men standing up without fear and worrying about what the result is going to be, then we can't be the great land of opportunity and the most free nation on earth. We need to be an example for these other nations that do have socialism and communism and all these completely polar opposite philosophies. As men, we definitely need to be aware of our mental, because you see a lot of times when you see like mass shootings or gun violence or violence in general, it's not typically our women. It can be, but it's us men that need to enforce and regulate and say, listen, enough is enough. Let's start gathering together and unifying one message and becoming one team, instead of being the Democrat team, the Republican team, the conservative or the liberal team. Even though, I clearly identify as I would even say an extreme conservative, because there's no leaning towards the middle. But when we talk about the mental and like even some of the things like reading the room, knowing your audience, knowing when to speak as a man will help us redefine and create those leaders. For example, like when we have certain issues and we could impact our political leaders with topics like abortion, it doesn't matter what we as men feel necessarily, even though it does matter. We have our stance and we know what's right and wrong. But when we allow our women and our female leaders to speak on these type of topics, then again, when we talk about the mental, they are, when I say they, the left and these liberal agendas that are attacking the males and the women's, that are creating these very strange, belief systems that are allowing people with poor mental health to claim, false genders and things of this nature. It gives them room to go against the way of common sense. That's where I say I see us men getting checked out and being leaders, and also knowing our audience, knowing when we could potentially damage the work that our leaders are putting in, allowing our women to step in at the right times for the right reasons, saying, okay, women, come on, help us, back us up on this, and be the voice, or certain issues where we need to be speaking as men, the women empowering us and knowing that we're going to step out without fear and without consequence.
Exactly, Egypt. It's sort of symbiotic because women want strong men, but let's not confuse that now with, an Andrew Tate, someone like that. And I think,
Yes.
I've always said, AKA in the last couple of years, but make men great again.
Mhm.
And that's what you're talking about. And that's, again, owning, mental health and where you're at. And that's not in any way, shape, or form to be conflated with being soft or weakness. Right.
Mhm.
And that's
Mhm.
where there's a lot of gray.
So Egypt, so you've put all this, I mean, obviously a lot of thought into this, a lot of work into this, and your story is spectacular. If people want to help you, because you have this organization, fightformentalhealth.com,
Yes.
guys. If people want to help, what do you do with your organization and how do you help?
Excellent question. So what we've done is we've positioned mental health to be more than just a sad story or just some nonprofit begging for donations. What we've done, first of all, is we have teamed up with some of our largest nonprofit and for-profit organizations, and we're always looking for strategic partners, mainly because mental health has so many different enemies and you have so many different opponents. So in some cases, it may be an economic struggle where someone just says, you know what, I just can't afford to eat, and that's causing me to have poor health. Another issue may be, maybe they're making poor decisions because they don't have the right influence, or, there's several different ways to approach this. So we actually are pushing this to be a conglomerate at all moments in time. And it's a machine. We have stars, athletes, legends, and ambassadors, influencers, et cetera, that are not only just putting out the message of let's fight for mental health, but we do specific things. Sometimes it's creating an experience for veterans, taking them and introducing them to stars and things of this nature, and saying, instead of just saying, go get help, we actually incentivize them getting help. And we partner with, different providers and different medical professionals to say, oh, excuse me, sorry, my light went off. Jeez. But the bottom line is we incentivize and make it fun for people to get help, mainly because what we see is if you're just telling someone to go see a therapist and there's no incentive to do this, it's not fun and they're not going to do it. And then how can they support us? How can they help us? Well, number one, contact us and let us know what your situation is. And what we do is I've had music videos where we were featured in a music video with some of the top artists.
Oh, wow.
And at the very end, there was a message that says, go fight for mental health. They contact us and then we may connect them with a provider or a therapist. Some of the other things we do is we raise a lot of revenue to help some of our political leaders get elected, so that we actually have soldiers and fighters for the people, that actually understand the problem. Sorry about the lighting. But the bottom line is we are always looking to create a machine. And the reason why we're moving in this fashion is because I work in not just an industry, the industry. And when you look at these huge corporations that are causing harm or that are overpowering the message, I'll give you an example. Nike doesn't just have one face. These tobacco products, these beer companies, you know, all these different major organizations, Bill Gates and all these guys, they're not just moving with one business strategy or with one system. So what we want always, if you're a provider, if you're a medical professional, a lot of times we found that it's hard for them to distinguish themselves from other providers. For example, if I'm a provider in a certain state, how does someone find me in the first place? Right? That may be one issue. And then you don't want to burn out your staff because you don't have, you know, enough people, you know, as patients, or you don't have the word out, you know, all these different areas. Instead of them having to focus on marketing and getting our name out and, you know, trying to, as a provider, trying to figure out how to position ourselves as a business, we help with that. A lot of times they can't afford one of the top celebrities in the world to be a pitchman for them or things of this nature. So we do it. But we also have events, like when we have our fights, when we have some of our huge events, we create an experience where fans are actually able to interact with these people and meet them in a different setting than just like a meet and greet where you just buy a t-shirt, shake hands, take a picture, and then get out. We have a history of creating like memorable moments and experiences where when they go back home, now they're motivated to fight. Now they're motivated to say, you know what, I have another opportunity. And then while they're interacting, we have these stars that are communicating and letting them know, like firsthand, without all the cameras, you know, it's more intimate, more personal. They're letting them know the struggles they've had and that they can make it too. And that it wasn't always, you know, roses and Hallmark cards for them, but they were able to pick themselves up and they can do it too. So how do we do this? How do you support? Well, number one, the first thing is look in the mirror. Whoever you are, whatever your situation is, first thing is look in your mirror, not the mirror, not everyone else's mirror, not what everyone else sees in you. Look in your mirror first and be honest and say, is this who I want to be today, right now? That's what a lot of us don't do. We're always thinking it later on, or what someone else is doing on social media and things of this nature, what someone else has or what you don't have. But if you stop, is my physical, like, am I overeating? Is my diet or nutrition, like, am I afraid to take my shirt off? Do I have these fears that are preventing me from opportunities? You know, am I self-sabotaging? Am I doing things, you know, maybe I'm behaving a certain way, or I'm exhibiting certain behaviors that are, you know, eliminating, you know, possibilities in my future. And then you come up with a plan. When you take that plan to a therapist, that's when they can have results with you. Sorry about that.
Hey, Egypt, you actually literally with the light, you're helping us and helped us see the light. Before we let you go, I definitely want to figure out how I can connect with you offline, because I want to connect you with Rob Bell, who I've been working with. He created a super innovative Web3 platform called 2B3D, and it helps. Have you heard of it? It helps.
No, I haven't.
Okay, I'll connect you. I think that there's definitely some synergy there. They help vets struggling with mental health in a very, like, again, forward thinking, interactive way. But I think that there could be something there. So however we can best connect offline, I can definitely make that happen.
Absolutely. I mean, have at it. I mean, I'm more than happy, and I appreciate the platform. I appreciate the opportunity. I get passionate. So if I'm being long-winded for the audience.
Listen, the chat loves your passion. I'm looking over here on pill.net. I mean, they're giving pills and cans and Filter Dog and Gambero over there. They love what you're saying, and it's really important for people to hear it, because look, we do a funny show a lot of the time, but the things you're saying are important. A lot of people need to hear that message. You never know where somebody's going to be in their headspace, and you're giving them a lot to think about when they need to think about it. So that's a blessing for a lot of people. And I appreciate you being here so much. And I want everybody to go to fight4mentalhealth.com, fight4mentalhealth.com, and check out the work that Egypt is doing. You're a good man, and it's been an honor to have you. And we can't wait to have you back on and talk to you more.
Well, you guys are, first of all, a pleasure to speak with. And I'm happy to come back anytime. One thing I will say on my way out, I love this setup. For someone who's having like a rough day, or they're tired of all this like depressing media, even the topics you can discuss, may range, but this is the colors are great. You guys put a lot of good ideas to work here, so I like this. This is awesome.
Thank you, Egypt. We're gonna jump from this to what, Dave? Sports Illustrated. So there's really nothing. Yeah, exactly. To your point. So thanks for recognizing that. We appreciate that. And listen, Egypt, I know that you were being polite, but the three of us know that we could use a checkup from the neck up, probably sooner than later. We are not offended.
We're all crazy. That's the point. But that's what makes it fun. But that's what makes it fun. And then look, I'll tell you what we do with this show, and we appreciate you being here. What we do with the show is we try to give people a place to laugh, a place to have an outlet, because you're right. The politics is serious. It's serious work. And look, you do a lot of work outside of mental health and politics. So we all do. And so we create an environment here where we can all just laugh and have fun and blow off some steam and learn something at the same time. And tonight, thanks to you, our audience certainly learned something. So thank you so much for being here, Egypt. And we'll talk again real soon, my friend.
Thank you for having me. You guys have a blessed evening.
You too,
you as well. Thank you.
Guys, that was a cool guest. His story is amazing. Yeah.
We'll have to have a part 2, Dave, because I was wondering, and people in the chat want to know how he got shot.
Well,
so
we'll have to have him back to tell the story.
Gotta bring him back in.
Wait, what's cool is it's like the Star Wars arc, right? We picked up from like after the
in
prequel.
The middle, right?
So, right, we picked up right in the middle where he picked himself up from that incident and did something great with it. Then we'll go back to the prequels and find out what happened. We'll see. Everybody can start using their imagination. It's going to be it's either going to be a cool story, or it's going to be something like some kid stole his mom's gun or something, and like I don't know. I think it's going to be a cool story, but we're going to find out. Anyway, it's tragic what happened to him, and that is awful. But a lot of times, tragedy in our lives happens because it makes us a better version of who we are. And so I'm sure I haven't spoken to Egypt about this particular, but I'm sure he feels that way, that everything that happens is a blessing, and it leads to where he is at. So we'll hear the story next time, Taylor. I didn't want to ask.
That's right.
I didn't want to ask. I want to be like, hey, how'd you get shot?
I'm blessed in the meantime, to be in your guys' presence, to see those
that's right, you are.
puppet newly blinking eyes. I mean,
so we're running long.
Better.
We're running long, but I'm going to talk about Ben Shapiro real quick. And
we have to. Let's close it on close it on that.
All right. Filter Dog wants to know if we're having a swimsuit.
Filter Dog knows what's up. Wait a second. Also, I saw some rumblings, Dave, in the pill chat about the winning comment that I have to read.
It was my comment.
Voice.
It was my comment.
What?
Yeah, my comment won.
What do you make of this? Wait, it was your comment? What was it?
Yes,
wow.
Matt 17.
Plot fucking twist.
You don't want to say it out loud. My comment won because you asked in the chat, do women, or no, Matt 1776 asked if women like soft men, and I answered that question. Matt said,
wow,
we found a winning comment. I vote for Pollux, which means I won. And so as the winner,
she's going to read it out loud in her voice.
It's too bad, Puppet, because you actually would have benefited from my response, which was, Matt said, do women like soft men? And I wrote only puppets. Because you are quite plush.
Press 1 if you want only puppets. Press 2.
Everybody.
Do you remember the movie phone? You've reached the movie phone. Press 1 to hear our showtimes.
Oh, Mr. Movie Phone.
Remember the movie phone?
God damn, Dave, with the throwbacks, like Be Kind, Rewind.
For showtimes, press 2. Beep.
So I guess a bet's a bet.
Last of the Mohicans playing at Regal Cinemas in West Palm Beach, Florida at 9:34 a.m. Second showing.
We could continue with this, or I could hold up my hand with
the
the bet and read the sex comment.
Yeah, let's read the sex comment.
Do you know what that voice reminds me of? Do you know what that voice reminds me of too? Do you remember the old school Weather Channel? Like you would just watch it and like you just want to know what the temperature was outside and you have to wait there for 15 minutes with the shitty jazz. Like you'd be like, you're local on the 8s.
Then you could actually get news. It was like and weather.
Right. Local on the 8s. You're like,
now
fuck
you
yeah.
can't.
Oh, it's raining. I didn't know. Anyway, all right, let's talk about Ben Shapiro. Here he comes.
So should I? Oh, here he comes. Oh.
Sports Illustrated is breaking new ground. Their swimsuit edition. Here is a person on the cover of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition who is like a kind of normal person that you might see at any beach and probably would not give a second thought to. This person is apparently named Lauren Chan and is the first plus-size queer Chinese model in the history of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. Oh my, wow. She is the first proud out lesbian on the cover of the magazine. And she's all about dismantling the beauty ideal. By the way, when you're dismantling the beauty ideal, there's a word for that. It's ugly. I don't know what else to call it when you say you're dismantling the ideal of beauty. You yourself said it. I did not say it. I don't see beautiful people who are dismantling the ideal of beauty. That's like saying I'm dismantling the idea of intelligence. I don't see intelligent people doing that generally. Generally, it's stupid people who are doing that.
Yeah, so
those were some eyebrows. Those are some eyebrows.
Why is Ben Shapiro the no fun club? I have to say, I actually looked on the comments of this post, and most of them, even being Ben and Daily Wire fans, were like, bro, she's kind of hot though. Like, what is your problem? I get the silliness of the checklist of like queer, Asian, plus size, this, first out, blah, blah, whatever. Like that part of it's funny, but like hot is hot. Even the people were like, what? She's got, why are you mad? Why are you mad? Like, has it been a minute since you've like been doing the hibbity jibbity? Like, what's the pent up anger?
Look, well, I got a couple of thoughts on it, but I mean, you are right. The list of reasons why she's on the cover is ridiculous, right? And I think that's enough to get people, especially in the MAGA crowd, fired up, because why do we have to label? They're like, we don't like labels, but they label everything.
Right.
So they got to have 9,000 labels for the person to make them. That's why they're on the cover. The swimsuit edition of Sports Illustrated, there was one reason and one reason only you get on the cover, because you're the hottest chick that most people would die to bang. That's why you get on the cover. And that list of trans this and that girl who's on the cover is not the person that wins the slot for the most wanted to be banged. And we're not, she doesn't want to be banged, but the guys want to bang her. That's what sells magazines. That's what sells this magazine. That's why this magazine exists, to make sales. And who buys it are the people who want to see that chick on the cover who's like super hot that you want to bang. That's what you buy it for. And then you also get the Sports Illustrated phone as an extra bonus, the football phone. And so this is just stupid. This is just ridiculousness, woke ideology wrapped up in the to change a magazine, and more than likely the thing ain't making any money and is going to go out of business.
Look, I don't
People
even
are
read.
concurring in the comments.
Yeah, I don't read Sports Illustrated. I didn't even know they were still a publication. But that being said, I don't have a problem with the curvy woman on the cover. She was kind of hot. It wasn't like.
What if some guys
it
like
wasn't,
a little cushion?
especially in the age of so much phony looking women. It's nice to see what a real, because she wasn't like.
Good point, Dave.
She wasn't nasty. She was just average. Like, and when I say average,
Dude, nobody wants to buy a magazine with an average girl on a cover.
but that's okay, because you know how many women would walk by that magazine and be like, okay, she's hot. And you know what makes a woman hot? And I'll tell you this. It's how she wears herself. And so
that
you can have a skinny ass bitch on the cover and she could just be bitchy, and that's not hot. Or you can have a curvy girl like her, but she's confident and she's like, yeah, so what? You want to play with them
we've
or not?
heard it. She's fat, but she sure can cook.
Right.
I get it, but this is still, we're not talking about.
She wasn't obese, dude. It's not like they put Shamu on the cover. It was just a thick woman.
We're not talking about that, though. This is like what you say to yourself when you have to justify,
I thought she was plenty hot.
She was
hot enough. She was hot enough. I have no issue with her being thick.
Y'all.
What?
I have a plot, man. They just keep on coming tonight.
Well, go ahead.
First of all, I was going to say, Dave, great point about how I feel like this is actually the woke checklist aside, the counterculture to how everybody, like the women all have the Kardashian fake, like big lips. Like it's so fake.
It
looks like Ronald McDonald. Like this is, I feel like, the counter to that, where it's actually natural and real looking, which I love.
No.
Here was my plot twist is that I have producer Rob in the text saying Puppet's right. Facts.
Thank
hot
you.
Hot
Thank you,
enough.
Rob.
He said hot enough. LOL. It's the swim edition cover.
But she
Wow.
wasn't.
You guys
She's
are
not a
savage.
cow. She was just curvy. So I don't have a problem with the
guys,
issue. But the
guys
issue
are
I have with it. Let me
savage.
say the second point here. And no, not Stacey Abrams on the cover, Gambera. That's
Right.
filtered
That's
dog.
what you. Dave's like,
No.
yeah, take Stacey Abrams looking good.
I wouldn't take. No, look, but it's like this. The fact that they had to be like, but she's also this and this and this and this, and that's the shit everybody's sick of. It's not
Yeah,
that
I
they
am
put
sick of that.
a chunky girl on the cover because she wasn't even that thick, really. But it was the issue of that she also she has to be this and she has to be and she's the first one of this. Who cares? Will you stop with the virtue signaling? It's obnoxious.
And the labeling. Just
And
put a
nobody-
girl on the cover, and if the
Right.
people like it, they'll buy the magazine, and if they don't, they won't.
Right.
And then you go, maybe we should have put a hotter girl on the cover.
Right, and I have good news for you men, and especially you, Puppet, who wanted to see the girl of his dreams, the pinup girl on the cover. She's a lesbian, so you ain't gonna do her anyway. So,
well, that's why you don't say that.
Wait, these men are savage. ABBA, Puppet likability increasing. If I wanted to look at cows, I would buy a farming magazine. Guys, all of this
That's
could
right.
literally be irrelevant because
You'd be John
Sports
Deere
Illustrated
magazine.
is like obsolete and pretty much gone under anyways, but I like that it's starting the combo.
I think Alan has I think Alan wins the comments.
What does he say?
There you go.
You guys are savage. The male gaze at work, everybody. Also, Filter Dog, he said the golf gal was a smoke show. She is hot. I know
who's the golf gal?
Basically what Puppet's talking about.
Yeah, that's what you put on the cover.
Puppet, yeah.
I
You
don't
don't
care.
put- I mean,
nobody
that-
reads a damn magazine. Where do you even find
what I'm
magazines
saying.
these days?
That's what I'm saying.
Where do you even find magazines to have a cover to begin with? Like, who cares what's on the cover? Nobody sees the damn thing.
I mean,
You know what,
somebody
actually?
sees it. I mean, someone's got to buy it in order for them to make it.
I don't
can tell
think
you
so.
what,
I
that
think that's
won't
the
be
problem.
one-
Nobody buys them.
That won't be one magazine where the pages stick together. I'll tell you that.
Paige Saronic is the golf
Yeah, that
girl.
chick is hot.
And this is where it doesn't go the other way, you guys, because imagine like a superhero in Avengers, a DC comic star, Marvel, whatever, being like flabby or being on the cover of the I'm saying Brad Pitt wasn't flabby. I'm just saying. So
Right.
it actually doesn't go the other way. And my magazine covers, to your point, are not wet stuck together if that is the case. So I hear you
Women
on
like
that
the
front,
dad
okay?
bod. There's a whole thing about
we're
it.
back to this.
Women like the dad bod.
They do.
So
Some do. It's a
I'm
niche
okay with a mom
crowd.
bod as long as she's not a bitch.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's fine. But
seriously.
that could be the mom fucking Women's Day magazine, not Sports Illustrated swimsuit.
That's fair.
Just
That's
saying.
fair.
It could be like,
I
Lawn and Garden or, I don't know, Horse and House, whatever that magazine is. Hearth and Home.
Oh my God, you guys are
Chicken and Biscuits magazine.
That's right. They put her on the cover of, what is that? The chef that got booted off of the Food Network for being a racist.
Oh.
Paula Dean's magazine.
Wow.
Oh,
You
God.
guys are. I mean, would I make it on the cover? I don't know. This is a rough crowd.
I don't know, Taylor.
Yeah, no one buys a magazine of large women.
Would I be up to everybody's
That's the
standards?
problem.
I mean,
Taylor, listen, I'm
Especially in swimwear.
you're my co-host. I don't look at you like that.
holy.
That might as well have been a Lane Bryant
Like-
catalog.
with this. Okay, Abba
The
said
JC
yes.
Penny catalog.
Abba, thank you for the
All right.
validation I needed.
All right, Abba wants
Not
to
just
see you
as a
on the
millennial,
cover.
but as a woman.
Abba, she's going to send you a pic later, just for you, autographed by Taylor Ferber herself, just for you, Abba.
And I'm gonna kiss it.
And she's
make
going to
out
kiss
with
it
Yeah.
It's going to be autographed by Taylor Ferber.
by Taylor Ferber.
I love the Wayne's World swing gift. Swing and pilled.
All right, great show tonight, guys. We're 18 minutes over. It's
18
almost tomorrow. Filter Dog liked the Lane Bryant comment.
Wait, I think you got to end it with the Taylor reading the comment.
God, I have this funny video. Hold on. I want to show it, but it's not in the right format. But I've been laughing about this video all day. Let me see if I can do something.
Is it as a baby one?
Yes, it's so fucking hilarious.
Do you guys still like us, even though
All right.
Do you guys want to still go steady with us, even though we've gone over 18 minutes? It was 18 minutes of bliss, in my opinion.
They're hanging out. The long finish. Here, look. Let me see if I can get this.
She said.
Let's see if I can get this video going.
Not
If
with
not,
that
I'll
swimsuit issue.
just end it. I'm going to see what it looks like. Give me a
Not
second.
at Diddy parties.
That's
Let's
a
see what
short
this looks
finish.
like. Hold on.
That's what I always do, and they never catch me. Ain't nobody gonna catch me.
Because you're too streetwise?
Yup. And all these hoes laughing like something funny.
She's talking about the audience, that they're laughing at her.
Did you say the hoes are laughing?
Yep.
So the audience are a bunch of hoes?
Yep. Catch me outside. How about that?
Huh?
Catch me outside. How about that?
Catch you outside? What does that mean?
That video,
amazing.
when the little girl starts clapping.
Yeah, I just love that part.
It's just
Like, you guys are all hoes, and she's like, yay!
That was amazing.
That video makes me laugh, and the format wasn't great, but man, I wanted to share with you guys. Ended on a positive note. That's all we got for tonight. Look, I'm sure stay tuned for the next adventure. We'll be back here, Filter Dog, next Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern. You know who's coming on next Tuesday, Taylor? I didn't even tell you yet.
No, who's going to see us next Tuesday?
We have Alpha coming on next Tuesday.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Well, then maybe I, wait to do the sex voice comment.
You could just
Then-
wait. You could just wait to do it, because if you do yours,
See?
I'll do mine.
Puppet. Oh, I'll show you. I'll show you mine.
If you show me yours, I'll show you mine, and mine has press 1.
Yeah,
if you want
I
to
don't
hear
think
Taylor's sex
people
voice.
want that. I mean, Puppet was trying to
Press
gear it up,
2.
but I think we have to go. But I like the
Here,
enthusiasm. We have
here's my
Abba
sex
saying,
voice. This is the voice of the chick on the cover of the magazine. You want to top or bottom, boy?
guys, I will read it because you know what? I want to prove that women aren't liars and that a bet is a bet and don't get upset. Okay. And so we'll look at this. And I love though the commitment here. We have Abba saying, I came here to hang out, keep going. We have someone in Pilled saying, play it, David, forget the format about that funny clip. So the people are hanging out with their wang out, you know?
We appreciate it. I mean, with their wangs
We
out
really
or not,
do.
we appreciate it.
Exactly. Okay. So where is the comment? The comment is something the soft. Do we like soft men? Okay. Here goes nothing. I'm nervous.
You should be. It's a lot of pressure.
It is.
Totally.
Press 1 if Taylor should be nervous.
Only Taylor's live now. Okay. Do women like soft men after they finish on their chest? Dun, 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 let's get sexual healing. I don't know. That was my interpretation.
All right, guys.
It felt made Puppet feel groovy.
Was that like the Diddy party with the semen on the nipples? Like
It's a Tootsie Roll. It was with the Tootsie Roll.
I think it was.
All right. Good night, everybody. I think this is right where we end.
Free your mouth,
yeah,
and your mind will follow.
Yep. I don't know if you would even call this a happy ending. It's just the ending. We'll see you next week at 10 p.m. Eastern. Good night, everyone.
Solid 5. I'll take it.
Me too.